Hey guys, welcome back to Filter Coffee Football. And today we have decided to tackle an interesting topic. Five underrated performers this season. Now, there may be many out there, but of course, this is our opinion. It's a mix of stats and just what we have seen them do on the pitch. So, if you don't agree, you have every right to let us know who your picks would be. And if you don't like our picks, let us know why you don't like our picks. And maybe we can get some healthy debates going down below. But yeah,
Give us a compelling argument, just not a point blank, oh, I don't like this player or I don't like this club. Hey, I am really polarizing myself, but now that I'm talking on a forum about a certain list, I'll try to be as unbiased as I can. So, asking you guys to be the same.
And that brings us perfectly to our first underrated performer of this season, David De Gea. Now, Henri mentioned Aaron Ramsdale, lots of criticism at the start of the season. Everybody questioned Arsenal for spending big on a goalkeeper who was recently
Double
relegated.
relegated goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he is definitely in there, but we decided that David De Gea deserved to be up on that list. I mean, 84 saves this season, the most of any goalkeeper in the Premier League. His post-shot expected goals is plus 0.44. To simplify it, 0 means good, and it's a scale of -1 to 1. So 0 is basically average. The closer you are to +1, the better you are. The closer you are to -1, the worse you are. And David De Gea sits at a plus 0.44 on that scale, which is pretty damn
quite
good,
high.
honestly. The biggest reason why he hasn't had as many clean sheets is because he has been protected, or rather not protected, by a very, very incompetent Manchester United defense, led by a fairly overrated player in and of himself, in Harry Maguire. Uh, but yeah, anything to add on to David De Gea's performance this season?
Uh, it's, I think it's a resurgence after not having a great last season. United were being clamored on for wasting Dean Henderson, but I don't think they're wasting him. I think they are trying to maximize the potential out of De Gea before Dean Henderson officially gets the number one. I understand Dean Henderson was quite good, but you can't just officially hand him the number one shirt just because he was a loan player and he excelled on his loan. Playing at the top is different than playing at a club who's just going to go towards the top. I think
Yeah.
it was a very good decision to stick with De Gea for this season, and he's proven it why.
Yeah, definitely a big reason why United are still in with a shout for top four. Moving on to defense. This one should surprise nobody. So, Karthik, why don't you take that one away?
Uh, he is not Virgil van Dijk, first of all. He is Joel Matip. Even I personally did not rate him, but this season he's been the best Liverpool defender, even from coming from Liverpool fans themselves. Like, everyone's a Virgil van Dijk stan. We all know that, but people have acknowledged the impact Matip has made this season. I think even Klopp had some great words said about him. Um you might not have seen him last season as much because him, Gomez, even Van Dijk, all of them were injured, and Liverpool somehow went through that crisis where they did not have a good central defender. But now they are back now, and look at it with Van Dijk and Matip. Look at it; they are just edging off of being the top, almost there, and a solid defensive performance is what you really need just to boost your rankings, and you can see that.
Yeah, I mean, Virgil van Dijk has, like, even on a bad day, he's still one of the best defenders out there. So there's no way he's ever going to see the bench. But keeping someone like Ibrahim Konate off and Joe Gomez, who, everybody knows has a lot of potential, away from that first team action just shows how good Matip has been in that position. And like you said, he's been the best defender for Liverpool by quite a margin. Like, Van Dijk is not having the best of seasons. So he's probably glad that he's got Matip next to him. So that alone should justify him being in this list over here. The last three that we picked, of course, this was a list of five. I don't know whether we said that or not. This is a list of five. We also have another list of five overrated performers, which we will also put out. So please make sure you go ahead and catch that one. But moving into midfield, who are our last three folks? One kid who has really been in the limelight, Jacob Ramsey, 20 years old. On paper, maybe you can say he's not done that much. He's scored goals, he's assisted, he's got 7 goal contributions so far in the Premier League, which you might say it's not that much. There are other players who do that much, but for 20 years of age, that's an amazing
Scored
thing.
some bangers. He scored some real good ones.
Now this one definitely does have some recency bias, but Karthik, why don't you tell us why we think he definitely deserves to be on this list?
Look at his third man runs. I mean, this is purely the eye test. This is more of an eye test than the statistical comparison, where you always want your attacking midfielder or your box to box midfielder to be there in the box right at the last minute, where you are going to expect that diagonal ball coming in, or maybe your winger cutting it and delivering a cross inside. So that's where Jacob Ramsey comes in. That's where the third man run comes in. And I think he's slowly getting into that role where he's more of a box to box midfielder, but makes those late runs and he's converting those chances. What else do you need? And even Steven Gerrard has been singing high praises about him recently, especially after the 3-3 draw that they had earlier, and Ramsey scored 2 beautiful goals. I think it's going to take one more season for him to truly establish himself, but he is definitely a potential. And for this season, I think he's underrated, but at the end of the season, you never know, he might have better numbers and maybe he could even go to a bigger club.
Well, yeah, Aston Villa will definitely want to hold on to him. They've been trying to get some good midfield players going in there anyway. They do still need defensive midfielders, so hopefully they can find somebody to fill into that slot. But Jacob Ramsey, 20 years of age, definitely deserves to be in here. Our next shout is player from Southampton, really amazing, really high flying, and he is not James Ward-Prowse. We're talking about Oriol Romeu. This was all Karthik, so I'm not even going to pitch in on this one. I might throw something at the end, but Karthik, just why?
I mean, there was this statistic that came out that he was the best performing Spaniard in the Premier League for the month of February. Maybe that should speak something, if not anything. A very efficient defensive partner.
And David is a Spaniard, by the way. But that just shows how good he has been, to actually still be in that list and be considered. He's not even like a full-blown international for Spain, and yet he's on that list per stats and per numbers. But yeah, please go ahead, take it away.
I think he's in the top 10 in ball recoveries, and you don't expect that from someone from Southampton. Southampton have been seeing an uptick in form, but they've also dropped so many points right in between. Again, now they seem to be on a resurgence, and it's solely been down to a good midfield partnership with James Ward-Prowse and Oriol Romeu. You might not see those fancy movements, those diagonal balls being sprayed out, or those assists going, but what makes him tick is what makes Southampton tick. That's what I have observed. That's from my eye test. And you have James Ward-Prowse to finish those dead balls, but you need to have someone who can partner with him and maybe supply those balls to him as well. That's what he's been doing very well right now.
Yeah, as the saying goes, behind every great stats monster is a very
underrated
non-stats monster, I guess. Sorry, I need to really make that saying a lot more streamlined. But yeah, he really facilitates that Southampton play going forward, because everybody thinks of all Southampton players as like aggressive attacking players. Romeo kind of stands out as a sore thumb in that team, and he really does a lot of the cleanup for them. He facilitates James Ward-Prowse to be in those kind of attacking positions and put the balls in that he does. So, and he's been a fixture of that team for a while now. So he's definitely set up really well, and about time that he deserves praise for what he is doing for that team. I mean, incredible, really, really great. And our last and final shout, again, this one, he's kind of been on the lips of a lot of people. His team not necessarily having the best of seasons, but he's actually close to having probably the best season of his life in the Premier League. Yuri Tielemans, Leicester City, 8 goals scored so far. Last season he contributed, sorry, 8 goals, goals and assist contributions so far this season. Last season he contributed 10 goals, and that was for the whole season. He still has 12 games to go this season, so he might just be topping his best performance in the Premier League this season. And in a really, really poor Leicester City side, I mean, it's easy to be the best player in a good team. It's really hard to be a really good player in a struggling team.
Again, another midfielder, attacking midfielder, box to box kind of midfielder who's making all those good third man runs and coming on to the scoring chart. Tielemans has been criticized for not being defensively astute. He has lost the ball quite a few times, but I think his attacking contributions make up for those follies right now. And considering that he's only 23, 24, I really think he still has quite a lot of room for improvement and for upskilling. So this just seems like a win-win. And from what I know, he's not extending his contract with Leicester that runs out end of next year. So big clubs are on alert. You might not be surprised to see him at maybe a Liverpool, a United, Arsenal, interest from abroad too. That's what I've been reading. Real Madrid, PSG, huge names coming in. But that's for the end of the season. That's for us to wait till the end of the season to see where he actually goes to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he can be for Liverpool what Liverpool thought Thiago Alcantara was going to be. So keep an eye on this space. Yuri Tielemans, he has big things written for himself in the future. But yeah, that was our list of 5 underrated players this season. Like I said, this is our opinion. Please feel free to throw your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know who you think should have been on the list, who you think probably doesn't deserve to be on the list. And yeah, as always, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Ready?